What's going on, people? Welcome back to another video. My name is HUGHWIZZY and you're watching episode 3 of our new Fantasy Premier League series. We are not going to stop this year until we're aiming high. And it is for that reason and that reason alone that I have brought in an expert for his opinion today. He is a presenter on the Fantasy Premier League show. And, well, I'm hoping that he can help me to rediscover my form, as it were. I've made a good start actually. I made so many changes at 10:59 AM that defenders kind of went out the window. I just made sure that I got all the attackers that I wanted in the side. And we've picked up 75 points to kick the season off. I am, however, going to have to make wholesale changes and hopefully Rambo can help me. This is for the ones who As you can see, I'm not alone today. I'm being joined by none other than Fantasy Premier League expert himself, RamboFYI. I've thrown you in at the deep end there, mate. How you doing?
Expert, you know, that's the bus running out of me and reversing back over again. I'm very good, thank you, man. I'm hearing that you're absolutely on it this year, and I'm buzzing to have another FPL person coming into this dark little world.
The pressure's mounting on my guys to actually get started. What I want to do in this episode is go over your team so you can talk through exactly why you've chosen who you have and what changes you're going to be looking to make in the second game week. Obviously, Manchester City and United both getting involved, and there will be a lot of people that feel like now is the opportunity to make changes, perhaps even use the wild card. So let's kick things off. Oh, he's not up for that. Expertise says no.
The best way to pick your team, in my opinion, is pick your player that you think you won't change. And it's funny because I'm going to get absolutely ripped for this. But last week I was on a stream and I said, like, I basically got thrown under the bus and said, is Salah finished? And I was like, he's not finished, but I don't think he's going to be quite there this year. And he goes and bags a hat-trick in the first week. But he's my guy. Like, I'm going to keep him in my team for the whole season. He was in my team for the whole of last season and the season before that. He scored the highest points last season. He's got over 250 points for the last 3 seasons. So he's almost like unignorable. And then I build around him because I don't know if you feel the same way, but don't you feel like the players are a bit expensive? Like 0.5 million, a bit too expensive.
There are so many more options that are good.
Yeah.
It's been really difficult to come up with an 11.
Yeah, well, this is the difficulty. So with my team, I've got Trent, Lamptey, and Saliba as a back 3. Now, Saliba, if you're listening, bro, sort your calf, thigh, groin, whatever it is. I need you playing because I said at the start of the season, Saliba's the little cheeky 4.5 defender that's going to come good. He's now 4.4 million, which is really annoying. Every 0.1 million counts. Is a little secret or a little thing that people do in FPL is you want to have the most valued squad at the end of the year. So like you want to bring in players early. So when they go up in price, like last year for me, it was Ings. I got him in at 6 million and I kept him till the end and he was 7.8 million. So I gained like 1.8, something like that on him. So Saliba might be that guy this year, but you'll know more than me on that, being an Arsenal fan. I was surprised with the side Arteta started against Fulham because I also had Pepe as well, but we'll come to that. Trent and Lamptey, I think Lamptey's a very good option. And I think now that people watched him against Chelsea, everyone's going to jump on him. 4.5 million is dirt cheap. And then Trent is a no-brainer, isn't it? Like 7.5 million defender who gets over 200 points season after season, regardless of whether you think Liverpool are going to be there or not this year. I'm sure we'll discuss that. I think Trent will be there because Liverpool's entire creative system is built around making sure he has time on the ball and make sure he can create. So
just on Trent there, right? You're saying that we shouldn't panic by what we saw against Leeds, which was probably one of his most kind of questionable games, or at least they seem to have his number.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on two sides of this because at the start of the season, I also said that I think teams are going to be better against him. So what I expect to happen is the left back will start to sit in. It depends on the team. Obviously, like a United or City won't do it, but like a Leeds or a West Brom or a Fulham, a team that's willing to sacrifice a player will drop their left back in, so there's no space for you to go. And they'll make sure the left winger presses right up against him like Harrison did. And what that means is Trent's got to decide, am I going to go forward and risk someone rapid behind me, turning me over every like 5 or 10 minutes? You saw Calvin Phillips continuously flicking him over. Or am I going to sit in and try and basically hope that in the little moments I get, I can do something? The frustrating thing about Trent is Robertson's now on set pieces, and set pieces is a big game changer in FPL because he could have had 2 assists. Van Dijk's obviously got disallowed, but he's really good at set pieces now, and he normally couldn't hit a dead ball. So that 0.5 million difference between Robertson and Trent is a flip of a coin. I'm also saying it's one game week. He had one bad game. Like, relax, everyone. and I think in more open games, he'll be more dangerous. We play Chelsea this weekend, so that game will be more open. Alonso, I think, will play at left back because Chilwell's not fit, which means there's going to be space behind him. So then you go, he's not a bad option anymore. But you can't do that in FPL. You can't do that with the top players. You can't, like, bring Salah in, for example, and then swap him for Aubameyang because he's got a nice fixture, and swap him to Salah. You've got to choose one or the other because on the grand scheme of things, Trent and Robertson might end up 10, 15 points apart. Now, that could be big in wherever you're chasing, whether you're chasing your league or whether you're chasing a top 10K finish or whatever it is. But still, if you keep using them changes, you won't be able to make that 10, 15 points up elsewhere and even more.
Okay, let's move into your midfield options. As you say, you've got Salah. He's like your pick for the rest of the season.
Yeah, he goes nowhere. He's the most expensive player in the game, along with Aubameyang and I think that's it. Aubameyang and Mane, who's gone down now actually. And then the 3 that I've gone with him. Honourable shout out to Saka because he's on the bench this week, and I don't know why. I just think Arsenal are going to have a good season, so I picked Saka. And last minute, you just like have a glitch in the matrix. I was like, Pepe's going to do it against Fulham. 2 Pepe's in. And then I seen the team and I was like, why is he on the bench? Pepe is currently in. He's 8 million. You can get so many other options for a similar price. I got 2 million in the bank. So we'll talk about changes, but he's someone I'm considering. St. Maximan's in there. Quite frustrating. It'd be Jeff Hendrick of all people for Newcastle who turns up on the first game. Like nobody would have had Jeff Hendrick apart from that one Buki guy. So St. Maximan, I think, because of his price at 5.5 million is a really nice option because you don't expect him to get returns every single week, but every other week is enough. And I think Newcastle are going to play pretty well this season.
What about this? The League Cup game last night between Newcastle and Blackburn. Yeah. Ryan Fraser, new signing, got the winner. Yeah. However, Sam Maximum taken off by Steve Bruce, receiving a knock, and they said in the post-match interview that they're going to have to assess him for the weekend's game against Brighton. Yeah,
but again, it's that whole thing of, am I that worried if St. Maximin doesn't play? Like, do you know, like a 5.5 million player, unless he's out for like 6 weeks, then you've got to chop him. But if it's just out for this weekend, it's that whole thing of like, if you start making all these little changes, you'll end up forgetting about all the bigger stuff or start taking -4s. So I'd say for now, keep him. Bruce said last season, as long as his hamstrings are good, he can play 70 minutes every game. That's what I probably expect for him. But that's where your good bench comes in. That's where you need players off the bench. Tyrone Mitchell's on my bench this weekend. I will completely admit, Tyrone, I didn't think you were going to play. I didn't even have you on there thinking you were going to play. You happen to play and get 6 points, and I rate you for that. And then Soychek, like 5 million quid. He's a regen of Marouane Fellaini. Moisey plays him so high up the pitch. He's going to get goals. He's probably going to get a few assists. And at 5 million, I think he's probably going to be the highest returning 5 million midfielder because the others are like Declan Rice. I think Noble's there. A lot of 5 million midfielders. Oh, well, the ones we know about, obviously, there's Leeds. There's a couple of Leeds players in there, West Brom and Fulham. But yeah, I think he'll have a really good season. Front 3, Werner, Kane, Ings. On paper, looks like it could be like one of the best front 3s in world football. But when Harry Kane turns up and decides to play CDM against Everton, everything changes. And then you got Werner against Brighton, and he was so bright, but I don't know if he plays this weekend. I think Lampard said he's got a dead leg. Werner said he's got a dead leg. So that might change things.
No way. Oh, I don't know. I think you're just hopeful as a Liverpool fan that he won't be playing.
The one thing that really fascinates me about Werner is I watched loads of him in Leipzig, and because he's playing as a central forward in a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, he'll drift left a lot. And so he'll terrorize defenders because centre-backs in the Premier League, he said it himself in his interview, he said they're all big, they're all strong, and they're all physical. And he loves playing on the last man. So when he takes on Liverpool, he's going to terrorize Gomez and Trent because both Gomez plays so high up the pitch. Trent obviously plays high up the pitch. He's going to lurk in that left channel and cause a lot of problems. It'll be interesting to see what happens when Pulisic comes back in because Pulisic plays off that left channel and plays as a left-sided player. So them two might actually get in each other's way a little bit. But I mean, against Brighton, within about 7 minutes, he was offside 3 times. And I was like, he's going to lurk on them defenders in a horrible way. The teams that just cannot afford to play a higher line. I mean, it worked for Brighton. They just probably deserved a point against Chelsea. But I'm like, if I'm Lewis Dunk and my pace is like 37, then why am I trying to beat the guy who plays like 95? What am I doing?
With your other two strikers, Kane and Ings, they've both had very slow starts. Obviously, Southampton losing 1-0 to Palace and Tottenham looking like they need pre-season. Are you going to stick with both of those two guys?
I mean, the annoying thing is they both play against each other this weekend. So, which like that's the annoying thing this weekend as a whole. All my players are playing against each other, bar like one. I think it's, in fact, now that I'm looking at it, everyone's playing against someone. Ings is an interesting one because I think with Che Adams, Ings looks like a bad pick because Che and Ingsy are in each other's space all the time. And Ingsy suits playing alongside someone like a Shane Long, who basically Shane Long's. I mean, he's a striker by name, but he's not a striker by stats. He just wants to hunt players down and put pressure on, and everything lands to Ings. Against Palace, everything was falling to Che, and Ings was also in the similar sort of areas, and Che just couldn't take advantage of it. That's been a big debate in the FPL community. Why don't you just spend 6 million on Che instead of 8.5 on Ings? I like the debate, but Ings was my guy last season. I'm never going to turn on Ings. So he's got to stay. But I think I'll give him another 2 or 3 games before I decide on exactly what to do because of his price. And then Kane is a really annoying pick. At the start of the season, it's probably all or nothing bias, actually. I watched all or nothing and I was like, Harry Kane! And then he's turned up and he's like playing...
Jose loves him, doesn't he?
Yeah. Oh, it's
proper loves him.
But then they're getting... I just seen today they're buying Reguilon from Sevilla, which changes a lot of things because Reguilon and Doherty will get him service. As an FPL asset, I honestly couldn't care less if Everton pumped Spurs 6-3. But beating Spurs 1-0 and Kane not getting a shot on target, I was like, it's just pointless. Like at 10.5 million is expensive. So that's the one area I'm really looking at because I'm looking at Aguero because Aguero always scores. That's the theory with Aguero, that he just cannot die. He always scores. I don't know if he's 100% fit. Pep's alluded to the fact that he might play him this week. So I'm a bit like, if I'm going to spend 10.5 on Kane and I don't know what I'm going to get, I may as well just push 10.5 at Aguero because I know exactly what I'm going to get. The problem is Pep Roulette. And if he decides to not play Aguero, then I've now got a 10.5 striker who's on the bench. So there's a couple of areas that I think definitely need improving. Pepe's another one. Pepe, man. Is he going to play?
You just don't know these days, especially with the way that Willian started. I mean, I think it counted as 2, but it looked like it could have been 3 assists on his debut. Yeah. So it'd be very difficult and brave for Arteta to leave him out after that. Hit the post as well with a free kick. I think Pepe, after, obviously a huge price tag being the main talking point of his first season, really does have to start kicking on. If anything, though, it's great for, Arsenal fans to have a buffed out squad. But for fancy Premier League managers, he is one of these really frustrating dons. And upon the first sighting, Havertz doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence. What are you thinking? Is it too early to take a gamble on him?
I think so. A lot of people have taken a gamble on him. I don't know what his ownership is at. I'll have a look now, but I think his ownership's quite high because obviously new signing and everyone really likes the idea of a new signing, like setting the house on fire. Like 11% for 11% ownership for a guy who's just joined. It depends, and I've said this a few times. It depends where Lampard plays him because he's not a right winger, and he was basically played as a right winger against Brighton. And I know people were like, oh, he made that incredible 80-yard gallop back to make that challenge in the box. I was like, if you're that good a footballer, and he's technically a wizard, I don't actually want to see him all the way back there. I want someone else to do that job so they can impact the game the other side. 8.5 is a cheeky price, but I think there's a player £1 million cheaper who's better, James Rodriguez. His stats were incredible against Spurs, and I'm not a stat guy, really. I like stats, but the eye test for me sells it. Everything goes through him. And when a player comes into a team and says, like, just give me the ball, I'll do whatever you want. I think Coleman got the ball at right back, and he's dropped in front of Davis, picked it up, popped it to Decore, got it back, popped it to Digne. I was like, this guy's going to tear it up. I'd wait on Havertz. I wouldn't jump the gun just yet. If you're looking at Havertz at Chelsea, I'd look at Pulisic instead, because we know what Pulisic brings to the team. We know what he's all about. And if you're looking at Pulisic, but you're not sure, then James is probably your best option because £1 million cheaper.
Changes for the coming game week then. Have you got anything in mind? Or is it too early?
bro, it's never too early. I'm thinking about this every single day. I'm looking at what to do with Pepe because he's gone down in price now for me, which is like the most annoying thing in the world. Because I was literally thinking on the weekend a straight swap for Willian. Now Willian is 0.2 million more expensive, so I can't actually get Willian in. And it's not often I lose players in price. I often keep I'll keep the player now. I'll have to keep him until he maybe plays again. So the one I'm probably going to look at is maybe Saliba, but again 4.4 million. He's just player's just going down in price. Maybe, in fact, now that I'm looking at it, and this is literally how my thinking works, where every single day, every single minute, the decision changes. I'm looking maybe Ramsdale to Emi Martinez to save 0.5 million, and then using that 0.5 million next week on bringing in maybe a Martial or a Bruno, depending on how United start. I'm intrigued to see what happens there, or maybe upgrading Saliba to someone who's like 5 million. But
that's interesting, man. I really wasn't inspired by what I saw from Ramsdale, and Martinez has been really good recently. He might, be full of confidence. That sounds like it's a decent shout. Right, listen, I've got a whole bunch of the fraud gang who've sent me their teams for you to have an expert look over.
Okay, all right.
I'm gonna WhatsApp you a couple of them now. If you could just give us your thoughts.
I mean, honestly, bro, I've just gone on my WhatsApp, and we've been doing this for about 30 minutes. I've got 6 messages, and they're all about FPL.
This is your life now, bro.
Michael, good choice. I think against Burnley. Tierney is a great shout. Trent, he's spending a lot on his defense. Yunchu's expensive, and 2 Leicester defenders. I don't like 2 in the same team. I hate having like 2 Liverpool defenders because you never know. Like this weekend, it was a bit pointless if you had like Trent and Gomez. So Yunchu, I'd be looking at. Douglas isn't going to play. I don't think he played the first week. No, he didn't. So I doubt he plays. Werner, Jimenez. See, he's got the same issue as me, right? Because he's got De Bruyne, Traore, and Jimenez all playing against each other. So he's hoping for a high-scoring game, which might be likely, but at the same time, it's a little bit of a gamble. If I was to make one change, wait, he's got his free hit active. Are you okay? Why are you free hitting? It's been 1 game week, man.
Team number 2.
Yeah.
This is from AFC Nath. And he has gone for 3-4-3.
I like the formation. Oh, I actually quite like this team. It's a little bit cheeky. He's got a few cheeky picks in there. Ryan's a really good pick. 3 Arsenal players, obviously an Arsenal fan. No doubt about that. Or maybe he's just backing Arsenal against West Ham. Maybe, I don't know. Foden against Wolves. I don't know if he's going to play. I don't think he'll play, actually. But the rest of his team is actually really good. This is probably one of the best teams I've seen.
It's strong. Even that bench is solid.
Yeah, he's got options. I mean, wait, he must have a lot of money in the bank,
When you chose your team, the initial first week team, did you keep any money in the kitty?
Yeah, so I've got 2 million in the bank. That was in consideration of Man City and United playing later on. And I'm playing the long game, trying to pick my team for like 5 or 6 weeks' time. If I made one change in this team, if I had to make a change, I'd just take Foden out I'd actually swap Foden for Traore. Adama loves this fixture against City, and I don't know if Foden plays. I imagine he might play some part in the game, but I really like his team. He's picked a lot of players that are really good when they get going. So like Callum Wilson, Zaha, Willian are really streaky players. So you can bin them in 5 or 6 game weeks time, but that's a really, really good team.
Listen, there's going to be a lot more opportunity for us to link up and talk about the progress or the lack of it that we're making. Much appreciated for coming on to the show. Do you want to just tell people what you're up to and where they can find you?
So if you just type in RamboFYI on Google, and then if you like Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or Twitch.
Look me up on the internet.
Yeah.
Well, great to have you on, and much love for everyone for tuning in. If you are new to the channel, please do make sure you subscribe and drop the video a damn like if you breathe oxygen. But for now, I've been HUGHWIZZY, and this has been The Fantasy.